All right, everyone. Welcome into another iteration of the Veteran Awareness Project workshop. We're going to be going over just a continuation of the schedule of ratings. So, if anybody that's tuning in has any questions with the schedule of ratings, like what percentage can you get? What does an increase need? What does anything to do with the schedule of ratings, basically. We'll just be going over it because we went over it last week and it was just basically like the introductory part of the schedule of ratings, just going over the different topics and how it goes over specifics in the schedule of ratings when it comes to pyramiding or having a combination or combining ratings or having a dominant hand or non-dominant hand rating and how those can differentiate the percentage you get. But it's also showing like, hey, what percentages and what things can you obtain and receive when it comes through that. But this week is more just to basically showcase and show people, all right, these are the different ratings, and we're gonna go through each section and just basically highlight the ones that most people don't use for disability ratings, why they don't file for an increase, why they haven't thought of filing for an increase, and and stuff like that. I have been under the weather, so I apologize now for all the coughing I'll probably be doing. But this is basically to do it. We are live on TikTok and on YouTube. So basically, if you have any questions, it's easier to tune into YouTube. Link is in the bio. You'll get information that way, and then you actually have a visual of what I'm showing you so that you could do it that way. So it gives you the ability to have, that information there, and you'll see what's going on. So easiest way to do it. For announcements for the week, we still have our website. Check out the website if you have any questions, anything to do with it. It's always there and it's available for people to use. If you have any questions, throw them out. It doesn't have to be only on the schedule of ratings. If it has to do with your benefits, if it has to do with entitlements, if it has to do something that concerns your dependents, don't hesitate to ask any questions. Here, we're just trying to get the awareness out, get the information out to veterans, just basically because a lot of this stuff goes over veterans. I wouldn't say it goes over their head, but it's a figure of speech basically, because a lot of the stuff just doesn't get informed and people don't know about it. So these workshops are here to enable veterans to get the resources they need and use the resources that they obtained by serving this country. There's no charge. We don't do any one-on-one consultings. What we may end up doing is that we may end up doing like a specific workshop where it will be a more in-depth, just going through the things, and we'll set up something so that basically veterans can actually go through it, and it's gonna involve veterans doing some homework. I know most people are going to be like, well, I don't want to do no homework. But the thing is I think that's one of the main advantages of doing these workshops is that if veterans tune in and they actually do homework and actually pay attention and start looking into the things that are available to them, the veteran ends up benefiting. You don't have to worry about paying somebody. You don't have to go to an entity. It's just a class, and it's not going to be something that I'm going to be like, hey, for $1,000, I'm going to show you how to know. That's other programs and other entities that love doing that love exploiting veterans because they know that's going to happen. They took a P&T vet to 50%. How? Water. So if you have, so this is the question. Let me see if I highlight this. Oh, where's my Q&A? Okay, so that was the question. The question is they took a P&T vet to 50%. How? So when it comes to situations where a veteran is P&T, you got to remember some veterans end up filing for something else. A lot of the times you got to remember when it comes to situations like that, P&T for veterans, some veterans use the secondary method. And what I mean by the secondary method is that veterans will have that one service connected issue, and then they tie multiple secondary issues to that service connected issue. So let's say you have tinnitus and hearing loss. Once you have tinnitus and hearing loss, most veterans will go and they'll tie migraines to it. They'll tie it into worsening their PTSD because of the ringing in the ear. It'll cause depression, stuff like that. So those things are used to tie into multiple other disabilities. So in the case when that happens is let's say you get evaluated or something happens and you go get checked out and you go get checked out for hearing loss. So let's go and you do the hearing test, which everybody knows the hearing test where us veterans never hear it, or we actually do hear it, or we can't hear it, or we keep on pressing it thinking we're hearing it. And then they tell us, hey man, there's no sound, stop pressing it. That happens. So if you go and take another examination for your hearing, and let's say your hearing increased. So your hearing isn't as bad as it used to be anymore. Now your hearing has increased and the decibel levels that you were at before have gotten better. So the way they're going to look at that is like, well, if your ringing in the ear isn't as bad, then that must mean your migraines aren't as bad. Then that must mean your depression isn't as bad. Then that must mean anything that you connected to tinnitus or to the hearing loss is no longer as bad as it used to be because your hearing loss improved. And that's where people need to understand that if you're losing it, if you're losing a rating, that means that you went also through CMP examinations and you went through multiple, you have to go through at least 2 different examinations or 2 different trials of them showing that you have drastically improved the issue you are dealing with. So if you are better, according to the CFR, because it's not according to the doctors, it's not according to the VA rater, it's according to the CFR. So by CFR definitions, you have increased or your disability has gotten better or improved. That is reason for you to be reduced. It's not that they just decide, oh, we're just going to find somebody and reduce. No, there has to be the same way you have to provide documentation to show that, hey, I have this disability. They have to be able to provide that documentation to show your disability has improved. So I'm hoping that that kind of answers the question there. But that's one of the things that most veterans don't pay attention to. It's just like when you're doing it through multiple service connections and it's like secondary effects, that causes issues. Because the thing is you have that primary issue, other secondary issues connected to that are, the way they see it is going to get better, but they're going to evaluate everything. Well, I even hit my mic out the way. But those are the things that people don't understand. You have to go through 2 different instances where it is showing that your disability has improved. It is not that you just go to the doctor and do that. The thing is that where a lot of veterans don't understand is that when you go get seen, whether it's physical therapy or anything through the VA, they are notating all of that information. They are notating what you're stating. They are notating, yes, hey, what's your pain level at? Your pain level was always at like 7. And then all of a sudden you keep on going and your pain level's at 2. That means your pain level isn't as bad. Your mobility may have increased. And then from there, they may start checking it. Because the thing is you got to remember, like when you go to physical therapy, they're checking your movement. They're checking your agility. If your agility is not as good, then it stays with what the CFR says. But all of a sudden, if you weren't able to like rotate your ankle or whatever the case may be, and now all of a sudden you can run on it, jump on one ankle and stuff like that, that's showing drastic improvement. That's something that they're going to put into your file and say, hey, veteran is now able to do this. Now, if they do that and you've gone back multiple times and you're able to do this, the CFR says for the ankle, you need to not be able to move it this percentage, then you get lowered. If not, it stays the same. But the thing is also when you look at it that way, each veteran is different. What they file for is different. What they're going through is different. What they may be evaluated for may be different. So there's no such thing as you are stuck. You have PT and P&T. You basically stay with P&T. But there's reasons why people get reduced. It's not just because the VA decided, you know what, we're going to find, you know what, Cruz, you're 100% P&T. We're just going to find a way to reduce you. No. You have to have the documentation the same way you have documentation to prove you have that disability. It's the same way. Good afternoon, Annette. But that's the one thing that a lot of veterans don't understand. The VA is not out to get you reduced. The VA wants you to get better, but they're not out there to get you reduced. They're not out there to take your ratings away. You yourself do that to yourself. And people don't understand that. It's what you say, how you go about it. The same way when people go through a CMP exam. When you go through the CMP exam, they are asking to see how it hinders you, how it affects you on a daily basis, how it bothers you. If you're not making statements that will contribute to how it's affecting you in a negative way, then they're going to take it as it's not affecting you in a negative way. Yes, it may be hurting you. You may be having this, you may be having that. But if it's better, then your rating may go down. So in the case of looking at the CFR, right? So CFR, Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4, the Schedule of Ratings. When you go into it, it's just depending on what it is, because it goes into musculoskeletal system. And then that's the thing, when the explanations for each diagnostic code are there. Veterans just don't read it. Veterans don't know this is there. And that's what affects veterans the most. That's what makes the cases and the issues for veterans the worst, because they don't read these issues. It talks about the joints. It talks about the bones. It talks about the accurate measurement of distance. Because remember, if one leg got shortened and the other one is longer because of one of your injuries, because of a hip injury, that's something you can file for and claim, because that's causing instability, which can then cause a secondary of knee issues where you have instability because one knee is compensating more because of the shortness of your leg. Stuff like that. Those are the things that people don't realize. But then at the same time, the VA is not going to file this shit for you. That's the other biggest thing with veterans. The VA is not going to do the work for you. If you do not file that disability claim, they ain't going to do it. You might, and I say might, because this doesn't always happen. You might get lucky and have a CMP examiner that actually goes above and beyond and puts those claims in there for you. Might. It's not always the case. Some CMP examiners will go out their way and try to make sure, you know what, you have this rating. And usually sometimes it works like with back issues, but this is just a breakdown of like dominant hand and stuff like that on a CFR. But that's what it goes into. They may see like you have back issues, right? Then they notice off of the documentation, well, you have other stuff. I have musculoskeletal issues. I'm in bed 99% of my days. Sexy, when you say that, is that being notated? Are you being diagnosed? Are you being checked for what it is that is causing those issues? Because with the musculoskeletal issues, it's all in the CFR. But it's a different thing and each one is different. And that's why it's just like you may be bedridden all day, but that has to be notated. So if you're bedridden that you can't get out, then you might fall under the special monthly compensation. But you have to have a track record of that. You have to have documentation showing that the reason why you are bedridden is because of said issue. You've been diagnosed with this issue. You have to have assistance, because that's why they have the caregiver programs where it's somebody is assisting you to take care of you because of the fact that you can't take care of yourself. But these are things that have to be notated. There's something that a doctor has signed off on or has been proven and has been shown, and they evaluate you, because when that happens, if it's housebound, they're going to send somebody to check to see if you're housebound. They're going to see who it is that's qualifying to assist you. If it's somebody in your family or if it's a medical provider. Those fall into two different categories. Hey, Military Mike, what's up, my man? Good afternoon. But those two things fall into two different criteria when it comes to it. Because bedridden is one thing, but bedridden and being taken care of by, let's say, a family member is one special monthly compensation. Being taken care of by a professional doctor that has to take care of you, that's a different type of compensation. Still going to get compensated, but it falls into two different things. Because one is like, hey, you need assistance with daily stuff, but you have husband, spouse, wife, whatever the case may be, assisting you. Or it's like, no, you need a medical doctor to come in, check on you because they may have to change this or they may have to change that, or it's checking your vital stuff like that. That falls into a different category. So it's different things depending on what you have. And then it falls under the CFR because the CFR, it explains most of it and it tells you acute, subacute, chronic diseases. And it keeps on going. Then it goes into prosthetic implants and resurfacing. So if you have prosthetics or you needed prosthetics, that's a different thing. But then that also falls into the clothing allowance, that if you fall under it, that you have like stuff that rips through your clothes or stuff like that. That gives you one thing. That's an allowance for clothing. Or if you have special ointments you have to put on your skin, whether it's by burn or whatever the case may be, there's a list of that and you would check and you can get the clothing allowance also. So there's like multiple things that fall into it, but it all falls under what your issue is, what you're diagnosed with, and there you go. 70 to 100% PTSD, TBI already, PNT, needed an increase. Doctor already filled out aid in attendance form, new law in August. I would qualify. Wait or do the increase. So you are saying that you are 70. So you are PNT. So are you TDIU PNT? Because the thing is you got to remember, if you're 100% PNT already, your increase is not going to make a difference unless you fall under the aid in attendance. So you don't really need an increase if you fall under aid in attendance. Because the thing is if you have that and you're showing that you need the assistance, you're being taken care of and stuff like that, if you have that already, you don't need to file for an increase. Because you're already at PNT. So they already know you are permanent and total. Now it's that you're filing for aid in attendance, but you want to make sure that you have all the documentation for aid in attendance. Just because you push it up to 100% PTSD doesn't mean that that's going to give you aid in attendance. Aid in attendance still has to be verified by the person taking care of you or the person that's administering care. What kind of care is it? Because the thing is if it's just like, hey, they look out for you, that's one thing. No, I have other disability trying to get aid in attendance and need 100% in one disability. So in that case, is like, do you have the documentation of 100%? Do you fall under 100% PNT? Could I have a community care-based hospital to request ED medical service? You don't, Mike, you don't have to go to community care. You can, if you're already 100% PNT and you have ED already in there, what you do is you can talk to your provider about that. Whoever your, I guess is your VA community care. So whichever one you see there, or if it's going to the thing, you would have to talk to them and be like, look, I need ED medication because of the fact that I am diagnosed with ED. I'm service connected for it. And then you go through there. And then from there, they'll just prescribe it. And I think it's only, you get a certain amount per month or a certain amount of time period that you get a certain amount of pills per month. So they'll give you a certain amount, then you would get a certain amount of refills, and then you would still have to call in after that refill expires to continue the medication. But for aid in attendance, like I said, it's you being evaluated. You have to be evaluated and fall into the criteria for that. If you are evaluated and you do not fall for, if it doesn't fit the requirements for aid in attendance, you could be 100% at PTSD. If you don't fit those requirements and you can't show those requirements, it won't matter. What I would do is you can file it together. When I started this, Gabriel, yes, have 3 3s out of the 5. Need doctor to say I can't work total. See, that's the thing. This is what you're saying. You need the doctor to say that. You have to make sure that he is saying that. That's where it becomes difficult for you. Because the thing is you can try to file for that increase, but if your doctor is not saying that you are at that level to get that increase, then you're going to be having a hard time. Because you need to make sure that you are at the point of getting that increase to 100%. It has to be like a no-brainer so that you do that. Mike, because the only way, the thing is in order for you to get the medication, you have to go through the VA. So it sucks you may not be comfortable with your provider, but it's just telling them that it's just like, look, I'm having these issues. I need medication for this because it's affecting me, and then it's affecting me mentally and stuff like that. You just gotta say it like that. You don't have to mental health. You want me to pull up mental health? All right, got you. Mental disorders, 100%. Total occupational and social impairment due to such symptoms as gross impairment in thought processes or communication, persistent delusions or hallucinations, grossly inappropriate behavior, persistent danger of hurting self or others, intermittent inability to perform activities of daily living, including maintenance of minimal personal hygiene, disorientation to time or place, memory loss for names of close relatives, own occupation, or own name. Now, if you fall under that and you have that diagnosed and you have that information showing that you are going through those issues, then yeah, there's a better chance of you getting up to 100%. But if you can't provide that falls into that, because that's the thing you got to remember with this. These things are very vague. There's no like specific thing that you have to like check off. You have to have these issues. And the thing is you cannot fall under the 70%. Because the thing is most of these are the same. All of them have occupational and social impairment. 70% says with deficiencies in most areas, such as work, school, family relations, judgment, thinking, or mood, due to such symptoms as suicidal ideation, obsessional rituals which interfere with routine activities, speech intermittently illogical, obscure or irrelevant, near continuous panic or depression affecting the ability to function independently, appropriately, and effectively. Impaired impulse control, such as unprovoked irritability with periods of violence, spatial disorientation, neglect of personal appearance and hygiene, difficulty in adapting to stressful circumstances, including work or a work-like setting, inability to establish and maintain effective relationships. So you have to, because the thing is from anybody just reading this, you would look at 70% and say that should be 100%. Because that one gives you a total layout of what it is. 100% is just like you are beyond the 70% issues. You're way past that. Because it's like here it says you have issues with, hygiene. With this is like you can't perform anything. So it's just like you have to be able to provide that information and show that. Your doctor has to be able to say, look, he can't even perform his own duties. He can't perform activities. He can't take care of himself hygiene wise. Your doctor has to make sure that he is hitting those spots when he's saying that. Do you have that memory loss of names? Because it says here it's just like inability to establish and maintain effective relationships. If you're not having that, and hey, you just got a divorce because of that, or because of this reason, that's something that shows up. That's something that's viable. But if you don't have those things, putting them together, it's hard to get increases sometimes. If you do not have the proper documentation. What you have to have is the proper documentation for it. If you're just going off of you hit certain things, you may fall into a problem where you may go for an increase and they might deny your increase. So if they deny your increase, now you're still stuck at not being able to get that SMC because you don't have that 100% disability rating. So you have to make sure that when you're filing for that, because you said you need your doctor to say. It's not that you need them. Your doctor is saying. Those are two different instances right there. Your doctor is like basically when you do a nexus letter. Your doctor is saying this is likely caused by time and service. Not, I think it was because of his time and service. That little wording right there changes your whole rating. So you need to make sure that your doctor is saying without a doubt you have total occupational and social impairment. It's total. Not partly, not possibly, total. Hey, Plot, appreciate the gift, my man. As always, appreciate you. But that's doctor already wrote the form for it. So if you already wrote everything and it says that, then you should be able to file for an increase. Then it's just like, hey, do the increase, you get the increase, then file for the SMC. But at the same time, while you're waiting on that, because the thing is, you got to remember, it's going to take some time. But you could do it at the same time and file it the same way. Because if you know without a doubt you're going to do that, then you're applying for the SMC. Because if you're doing it both at the same time and you have the documentation, you're on the right track. But you got to make sure that that letter that your doctor wrote is without a doubt putting you at 100%. Because if not, all you're doing is filing for an increase, not getting it, and then you're not getting the SMC. So make sure that you have without a doubt. So if you already filled out the aid and attendance form, the doctor filled it out, and you've seen a social worker to contribute it, go through the process of making sure that that is solidified. Because it sounds like you already have everything you need. Well, not yet, because you still got to see the social worker. But you want to put all that together. Before you make any filings, make sure that your aid and attendance is concrete. Because it sounds like you already got the PTSD being increased to 100% concrete. Now you got to make sure that the aid and attendance is concrete. Because remember, they can just up it to 100%, but then they're going to look at it as just like there's no need to up it if you're not getting aid and attendance or you don't really actually fall for aid and attendance. So, like I said, as always, is doing your due diligence when it comes to that, making sure that that documentation is set. You have to make sure that your aid and attendance is flawless. Because if it's not, you can get 100%. It's not going to give you more thing. But then at the same time, sometimes they do that automatically. With some cases and some instances, the VA does, like I said, sometimes it does it where they show you it's just like, hey, well, you fall under 100% P&T because of one disability being 100% P&T, and then they start the process for the aid and attendance or the SMC levels on their own. Don't count on that. Without a doubt, your documentation has to be foolproof, and that's for any claim at all. Any claim at all, no matter what anybody is filing for, no matter what veteran is tuning in, y'all watching, whatever y'all filing for, y'all got to claim it that way. Anything that you need when it comes to medication-wise and stuff like that, you have to go through your VA provider. When it's for filing the disability claim, that you can have an outside entity. But when it comes to getting like medication or referrals or stuff like that, you have to go through your VA provider. Because basically, they're the ones that are overseeing you. They're overseeing the fact that, yes, you are 100% P&T, you got these issues, we'll take care of it. If the VA can't provide the assistance because they don't have the doctor for it or they don't have the location that's close enough to you, then they refer you to community care. But that's you having to go through them regardless. That's the pain with it. It's not like you can go to your community care and be like, hey, you see your regular doctor and be like, look, I need this. In cases you can do that though, because sometimes it's you taking that documentation. So let's say you have this issue and you want this medication. You would have to take that to your VA provider and be like, look, my doctor is giving me this or wants to prescribe me this, and I'm trying to see if the VA will cover it. That's 44 back, 20 knees, 30 PTSD, 70 migraine, 30 headache fall last year, 2. Because the thing is if you have TBI, because you can go, there's SMC, is it RT or, hold on. Let me look up the SMC levels. Because I think it's R or T. I can't remember which one of them. But there's one that goes for TBIs. I think it's T. Give me a second and let me look it up. SMCT. So I'll put this up. This is from a basically like a lawyer company. It's Hill and Ponton Veterans Disability Attorneys, and it breaks it down. Special K, S, L to O, T. SMCT, traumatic brain injury, is a category of the special monthly compensation program that is meant for veterans who have been diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury with severe consequences or residual impacts. For veterans with major TBIs and residuals, that's a purpose. Eligibility, veterans whose TBIs and residuals require regular, extensive, and specialized care, going beyond those required for aid and attendance. See, but the thing is also saying that it's going beyond aid and attendance. So you have aid and attendance, but it's basically you can fall under that also, because the thing is filing for that can lead you to get to aid and attendance. Because the thing is you have a TBI, and if it's the TBI that's causing these issues, which is worsening your situation, then that can lead to the aid and attendance after, because you have the TBI to show that that's what's causing it. So it's not even increasing your PTSD. It could be that your TBI is what's causing you to worsen. You see what, like, because this is basically it. Traumatic brain injury is a different one. Because you are trying to go for, which is the one you're trying to file for? L? Where's it at? When veterans have limb loss or loss of use, like losing both feet, for example, or a combination of severe disabilities like blindness. Oh, the highest level typically for veterans with full paralysis or conditions that require significant amount of care. Aid in attendance is also known as an attendance, a category in the VA Special Monthly Compensation Program. It is designed for veterans who require regular special assistance because of their service-connected disabilities. So that's what I'm saying. You can also go for SMCT. It might not be the same level, but at the same time, you have a traumatic brain injury that shows this is the cause for it. Because it could have been the reason that you fell and you got injured was because of your TBI. Thing is you have to provide that information. You have to provide that link. Because that's mostly it. For SMC is like you have to show that this is the cause for it. This is what's happening to you. This is documented, because there's not really a diagnosis for it. It's basically documentation showing that you're going through what you're going through, so that when they evaluate you, it's in writing that yes, this person needs aid and attendance because they can't use restroom facilities on their own. They have to, you have to wear a diaper, or you have to be showered, or you have to be fed your food, or you have to be transported and moved in shit. If you need specialized equipment to be moved, that's there. While you're at home, you have to have specialized equipment to take care of you. Stuff like that. Those are the things you want to make sure you have. But there's also that's why I say SMCT, because there's traumatic brain injury and you have that. So it may not be L, but you have that. And if you have a traumatic brain injury that is causing you extensive issues, that alone is a big difference. Because that's like going to this, and then if we go, no, not to the CFR again, va.gov, then we go to special monthly compensation. So the rates, I hate that it just sends you to the rates. That's why I need to put that up on the website. That's what I'm gonna work on too. Special monthly compensation needs to go on there. Brian D, what's up? Because it just takes you here for the current rate. Past rates 2024. Because then it also falls into with dependents or not dependents. Because SMCT, because you're going for L, right? L pays you veteran alone 4,651. T, because of your TBI, pays you at 10,697. The thing is like you have to. The thing is you can't go off of, oh, they say it's difficult. That's somebody telling you, that was somebody telling you that they probably weren't able to get there, so they're telling you it's hard to get to that disability rating. Can't go off of what anybody else says. You are going off of your situation. You are going off of your information. You are going off of your documentation, your diagnosis, and your proof to file for it. Because the thing is you can't go off of somebody else saying that, oh, it's difficult to get it without this or without that. If you have the criteria to go for it, go, hey, file for it. File for it. You may not know you have a TBI. Boom, you have a requirement. You have all the stuff. You got a walker, a cane, shower, a chair, braces, knees, and back. Now, do you have somebody assisting you doing that? Is somebody helping you walk? Is somebody helping you shower? Those are the things that meet those requirements for that aid in attendance. Because the thing is if you don't have somebody doing that for you at all times, then it's hard. Then yes, it's hard to get that SMC housebound or the aid in attendance. Because the thing is you have significant injuries that are messing you up that bad. But if you don't have the people showing that you're doing it, that's why. It's just like, if you're going for it, look, because the way I see it is if you're going to file for housebound, but you have a TBI, why not just file for a TBI? What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen if you file for a TBI? Because if they're not going to give you the housebound, they're not going to give you the TBI. You're going to end up with something. You're going to end up with something. It's not going to be... It's not going to be that you have a TBI and it's not affecting you to the point where you need aid in attendance. So that's why you might fall under either one of these. But that's why it's just like that's depending on what you file for. Because the thing is like I said, they're not going to file the SMCT for you unless you ask for it. So you might fall under it, but they're not going to go out of their way to do that. They're going off of what you are trying to apply for. So if I were you, I go for T because you already have the TBI. You already have the TBI in there. There's no need to worry about it. You have traumatic brain injury already in your file. File 2 years ago, they said I need to be 100%. I understand that, but the thing is so then you're trying to do multiple things at once, and the problem with the VA is that you have to do these instances separately then. You filed for it 2 years ago, and they said that you needed 100%. Now, when you filed that, did they tell you you would have gotten it if you got the 100%? If you had that one disability? Because those are different things right there. Because you filed for it and they said you needed the 100%. Would you have gotten it if you had that 100%? Because then if that's the case, you need to make sure you are doing it for your increase first. Your first priority, increase. Then after the increase, then file for it. Because the thing is you're trying to make sure to take two things at once, but you need to, if you don't have that 100%, like I said, it's not gonna make you any, it's not gonna help you. So this is about a link to weight gain twice. Do you think I can submit on second to my PTSD now with Brian D asks, I have been denied for OSA linked to weight gain twice. Do you think I can submit OSA second to my PTSD now with VA court cases granting it in that condition? I think it's a better link than weight gain. So I think there's a better link for your obstructive sleep apnea to be connected to PTSD than to be connected to the weight gain. Because the thing is with weight gain, what caused the weight gain? Was it injuries? Was it service connected injuries? Was it you not working out? Was it that connection is a bit more fuzzier? It is possible, but it's a bit fuzzier when it comes to because you gained weight, you got sleep apnea. They're going to be like, well, that's not my problem. That's not our causing. Now, if your PTSD is the reason causing your sleep apnea, that's a better tie to it because there's conditions and there's already precedents when it comes to that. With weight gain, it could be that you had a messed up knee and that's what caused your weight gain. Not so that makes it difficult there. So those are like that's what I say with different instances is very specific as to what you are claiming and what you are tying to these issues. It's not it's not as easy to just service connect things. You still have the diagnosis, you still have the documentation, you still have a nexus letter at times where it's just like, hey, my doctor, after evaluating me, diagnosed me with sleep apnea. And because of sleep apnea, it has developed into this, or it has worsened. And it was because of his PTSD. I was just like, you gained weight, but why did you gain weight? Because sleep apnea can be caused by being overweight, but what caused you to gain the weight? So basically, if you're trying to connect it, saying that I got sleep apnea because of my weight gain, there's no disability claim for weight gain. So you weren't really able to service connect your weight gain to anything. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have that connection, it's hard to do it. With PTSD, it's been shown, and there have been studies that people link and stuff like that, showing that, oh, you got this because of this. You got sleep apnea because of weight gain. But why did you get the weight gain? If there's a diagnostic code for it, if it's like a thyroid issue or something like that that caused it, then is a thyroid issue service connected? My Nexus doctor said the same thing in my letter and did not link it. Yeah, so if you're not linking it to PTSD, it's not there. But the thing is in the Nexus letter, did you provide like documentation or a study of something that contributed to that? Because you got to remember with Nexus letters, and that's why I have it on the website. You go to the the Vet Awareness Project website, and you go to resources, Nexus letter, and it tells you what to do in there. But this is the example. And the example you want to have is that, close that part, the medical rationale. So you have the service-connected event or condition, current diagnosis, causal link. Medical research supports a connection between sleep apnea and yada, 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 and the development of the sleep apnea. So basically, medical research supports a connection between weight gain and sleep apnea. But what is this? You have to make sure that this part, the beginning part, is service connected. So that service connected is tied to the sleep apnea. So a Nexus letter has to provide that information because you have to tie those things together. Weight gain is not a diagnostic code. It is not a service connected issue. You have to make sure that you have that service connected issue in your letter, tying it to sleep apnea. And then how it goes on to continue, it says, example, studies show that repetitive, whatever the case may be, because this is just an example of this is just like a template example. Basically, that you use it, but you have to translate it into your situation. And then the continuity of symptoms. So that's why I put this example in the letter so that way people can see it and they can visualize what it is that's in there and what is provided and what is in addition to what you're putting. Because the thing is most people just put that. It's just like, yeah, it's service connected, but is there research providing that? Is there research documenting that? Because the thing is you can have all the medical studies available. You can have every medical study possible and available for you. If it is not service connected or cannot be connected to your time and service, your nexus letter is a document that is just your doctor saying, yes, I think it was caused by this, but there's nothing really showing the connection. So that's where you got to do that. So it's just depending on how you, like these nexus letters is depending on how in depth they go in. Because that's why I have this template here so that veterans can use it and actually provide this to their doctor. Because then the thing is like, look, your doctor can provide you, you know what the service connected issue or the condition is, why it was caused by service. That's being put in there. Your doctor explains it. Why you got diagnosed with it, your doctor explains it. The links. I was like, well, these studies show that time in service being, it could be because of the deployment, it could be whatever. If you have a study showing it, you need to add that in there because that's a document you add to further strengthen your case. And then examples, you show examples of different ones. It could be different studies that you add into it and you put those different studies in there to show that your sleep apnea was caused by your PTSD. If you don't put that, it's difficult. Dave, my man, appreciate you. Those are the different things that people need to realize when it comes to doing it. Because the thing is a nexus letter is a nexus letter. Yes. How in depth, how specific you are, and then I have the extra guidance. I don't know why it's taking this long, but it's just basically it gives you the different stuff. So this is just extra examples of different ones that you can use to add into it. Because it tells you what the documentation should have, what it does have or doesn't have. You adding your lay statements or supportive evidence or witness statements, that's putting it into it also. Because then you have people like it's tying everything together. When it comes to filing disability claims, you have to tie everything together to fulfill this. So like in the case of PTSD, if that's what's causing it, your doctor has to make sure it hits these. In order for you to get 100%, your doctor would have to say, Brian is dealing with total. I am diagnosing him with PTSD and he is dealing with total occupational and social impairment where yada, 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 yada. And he's explaining it. He's giving examples. You have your traumatic issue or event that's there. But then he can also elaborate on, well, he had this traumatic injury or traumatic, it could be a TBI happened or PTSD happened because of this event, but this has continued. My attorney wanted to connect to weight gain and we went with that route. I can't help there. If it's an attorney, they know more than me. They should know more than, they definitely know more than me. But sometimes, like I said, it could be the fact that you did. No, now a question I have is, did you appeal when you first got it wrong? Or when they first got it wrong, did you appeal that? Or did you just refile again? Those are two different instances. Because you got to remember also, when filing for your disability claims, if you know without a doubt that they jacked your shit up, you without a doubt need to appeal that. A lot of people, what they do is they do a higher level review. They don't do the supplemental claim. They don't go to the board. They go to the higher level review because of the fact that it's just like, hey, I know my information was in there. I know my shit was right. I need a fresh set of eyes to look at this claim. Yes, appeal. Then I had to wait for the nexus letter linking the weight gain again. So, okay, so you filed for it, but at first you didn't have the nexus letter. So you had to wait. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It sucks sometimes because sometimes it's like you didn't have all that documentation the first go round. So that's why probably it was denied. So you appealed and added the nexus letter on top of it. The thing is when you did that, when you first got denied, in your ratings letter, what did it say? What was the reason for denial? Because that's something that's very important for veterans to look at when it comes to their letters. Why was your disability claim denied? Because it'll say, oh, you got this percentage because of this, because you didn't meet the requirements for that, or we found um that, and that's why I find it weird, because the thing is if they knew that you had PTSD and they knew that that was connected, why wouldn't they have just gone with the PTSD method instead of going with weight gain? Weight gain, there's no diagnostic code, at least that I know of. Unless if somebody knows a diagnostic code for weight gain, please let me know. Or maybe, because I don't even know what that would fall under. I don't know what weight gain would fall under when it comes to a disability claim. Well, it could be depression. The thing is that depression could be a link to it. The thing is linking those. Because the thing is with whatever you want to link to weight gain, you have to be able to prove that without a doubt. Back pay, if it was granted. Um, so she went the route of doing that way because she wanted the back pay. That's why sometimes I don't. That's why I do these workshops, man. Because I don't. Not to say I don't trust attorneys and I don't trust things like that, but the thing is this is something that veterans deal with. Veterans deal with filing disability claims, and veterans, these companies, attorneys, and stuff like that know that veterans want to get their money. But they know that the way for them to get money is either they have a flat fee, which rarely do most of these companies have that, or it's we're getting paid off of whatever you get paid back. So in some instances, it's just like they're putting that out there because it's just like you already had PTSD. Why not link it to that? Brian, all of it. Look, I'll say this. Not all of us content creators on all these channels and stuff like that are, I wouldn't say we're not helpful. A lot are helpful, but the thing is sometimes they go through the motions and the steps, which is very, how can I put it? It's like they prey on veterans. They prey on veterans' thought processes, and they prey on veterans doing things. Because the thing is if you know a veteran and they've been filing for disability claim, you know they want to get to 100%. So you are going to do whatever you can to entice somebody to keep on coming back. Cause I'm gonna show you how to get to 100%. I'm just teaching you and showing you the ropes. How you get there, that's how you get there. But certain things is just like, this was something that if you would have known better, you could have been like, you know what? I see you trying to connect it to this, but I think we should connect it to our PTSD claim. Because I'm already service connected for that. And there's proof and documentation showing that PTSD is there. You would have been able to probably get that approved the right way. But now, since you're going through them again, they still getting paid. You didn't know that. You didn't know that it was just like, oh, this change could have done that and stuff like that. And that's why it bothers me sometimes, because it's just like, I always tell people to go to a VSO. Not all VSOs are great. Shit, I'm not perfect. I get shit wrong, but I'll get back to you and let you know, hey man, I fucked up. This is that. Now I've been boxing. Now I've been boxing off. Like that's the thing. It's just like, that's why it's important for veterans to learn these things. You have to learn these things. You have to learn the different instances. You have to learn the different documentation. You have to learn the regulations so that way you don't get taken advantage of. Because the thing is for a lot of these entities, they only get paid once you get paid. So if they know shit, if I'm gonna extend this and I already said I'm gonna get 10% of whatever he gets, if I can extend taking care of you for 2 years, that means I'm gonna get 10% out of 2 years of back pay instead of it going through in the first time go, and I'm only getting that 10% of just that like 5 months. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's important for veterans to educate themselves on the Code of Federal Regulation. This is a free document, y'all. This isn't something like I'm gatekeeping. Go to the CFR. You can type in CFR Title 38, Chapter 1, or just if you put CFR Title 38, most of the time the first thing that shows up is Chapter 1, Part 4, the Schedule of Ratings. Once people know that, that's what it is. And that's why I always tell people go to a VSO, because you're not paying them anything. Some of them are trash, some of them are great, but it's free information on free information. This is all free information for people to use, but the people don't read it and don't know it. It's just like shit. You could even go to, give me a second. Where's it at? You can go to this website, the United States Court of Appeals for Veteran Claims. And then you can just go to search decisions if you know certain ones, corporate, how to appeal, information about practitioners, active panels, state cases, class action cases. And you can look all this stuff up and just start looking at stuff. If you know a specific file, look for it. Michael just got his hearing service connected at 90%. Crazy. Didn't expect such a high rating, but glad it's service connected. Jimmy, the thing is that most people don't understand that that's how it works. Everything is through this. Everything you get, no matter what it is. So if you go to, what is it? Auditory acuity. Depending on how bad it is, and you go through here and go through the ratings. Diseases of the ear. There's different diseases. And it just explained that here. And you can get the percentage you get from there. If you get vertigo, impairment with attacks of vertigo, depending on how many vertigos you get. Hearing impairment with vertigo less than 1 month, once a month, or without tinnitus. Like all those different things are there. But if a veteran goes and files for it and he doesn't know what he's looking at, I can tell you anything. I can literally tell y'all anything. If y'all so desperate to the point where it's just like, yo, I need to get this. I need to get this service connected. I need to do this. If I tell you, hey man, file for this, file for that, most people go for it and be like, you know what? I'm gonna file for this shit. This guy said it. He's 100% P&T. I was just like, nah, I'm 100% P&T, but I'm gonna show you where you're gonna go get this information from, so that way you know what you're getting yourself into. Because with the schedule of ratings, the information is there. You can get a high rating or you can get a low rating. But if you go into it thinking that you're going to get 100%, and there's no such thing as 100% for your disability claim, you're going to be a very sour apple. You're going to bite into that apple and be like, what the? I was like, man, this thing is bothering me. I can't hear shit out my ear. And they only gave me 10%. And then you're going to be mad as hell. And then it's going to become, and then that's how we have a lot of veterans that be like, yo, the VA sucks. The VA don't do shit. I didn't understand the severity of the rating scale. And Jimmy, that's one of the more important things. That's one of the biggest things that veterans don't understand when it comes to filing disability claims. The table of contents shows all of it. Like even the digestive system, if it's a certain thing, like look, you can lose part of your tongue. And it's different levels. It's level, like they like to say, it's levels to this shit. That's what it is with impairment. Because the thing is pain-wise, like I said, like I keep telling people, it's not that the VA don't care about pain. Not everybody goes through the same pain levels. Not everybody has the same pain issues. I don't see a code for weight gain or weight loss. I look at ICD codes. These are the codes used for providers to get paid. It is, there's nothing in the ECFR. And that's why I found it weird that that attorney decided to go through. And everybody, Annette here, Annette is I can't thank her enough. Always assisting me with information and finding information. But she says it right there. There is no diagnostic code for weight gain or weight loss. Something is causing that. Something is causing you to gain weight. Something is causing you to lose weight. If you can't show what it is that's causing it, you fall into a problem. Because the thing is you're going to file for it, and you're going to file for this caused by this, but that the thing that's causing it doesn't exist. Or it does exist and it can't be shown, but according to the CFR, it doesn't exist. Weight gain is an outcome of something else, whether it's an injury, you can't be mobile anymore, or you can't do daily activities, and that's why you gained weight because you can't exercise, something like that. That's causing it, but what is the underlying issue that's doing it? Can you be granted TDIU and then later be granted 100% scheduler to do filing other claims? You can be granted TDIU and you can still continue to file. The thing is if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you are filing to make sure you get to 100%. Because you got to remember, you're at TDIU, you have it already. You're getting paid at the 100%. If you want to get to P&T, this is where you start going into the CFR again. Everything that because you got to remember, you have the TDIU because of certain disability that's either 70 and the other one with 40, that issue. Do you have other things? Because the thing is you can continue to file. You can continue to file, and then you can just file for increases. Because it could be that you have that one that's at 70, but it needs to be higher. Or you have that other one that's 40 that needs to be higher. I was like, you can keep on doing it. The thing is most people, they get to that 100% and they stop. Scheduler is not what you want to do. You don't want to be you don't want to be at the scheduler, because then that means they're going to check it. My attorney said pick one or the other. What do you mean pick one or the other? TDIU or 100% P&T? Because TDIU is the same. They're basically the same thing. It's just that one is more difficult to get. Well, they're both difficult to get if you don't have the right layout for it. Ryan, if I were you, do a consultation with another attorney. Don't tell your attorney that. Do one of those. You know how those attorneys and stuff have a free consultation? Just go and get a free consultation. Pick their brain. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You ain't using their services, but then at least you will know where the hell you stand at. Because the thing is I don't know what your attorney has told you specifically. But let's say you go and have a free consultation with another attorney, and the other attorney tells you the exact opposite of what your attorney's telling you. That'll tell you something. Because that's what it comes to. It's just like attorneys, companies, anything like that. Their bottom line is make money. God, that's the easiest way to put it. That's the easiest way to sugarcoat it. The bottom line for any of these companies, any attorney, any claims agency or whatever, filers, whatever, their bottom line is to make money. The more, the better. So I would just inquire with a different attorney, do those free consultations, because they always offer that free consultation. It's just like, hey, do you need to file a disability claim? Well, we offer a 30-minute free consultation and this, and that. And you do that, and then they tell you this, and it's like, oh, okay. Trust me. Look, I'm a biggest fan of VSOs, but at the same time, they're not all the same. I picked the attorney brain too at their rates of five. Because some of them do that. Hey, I can tell you this much. That is not the only attorney that specializes in this. There's nothing that says you cannot look at different entities when it comes to these services. The same way, hey, look, I do these workshops on YouTube. That don't mean you're not gonna go to another YouTube channel and try to find information. You were able to do that. You ain't even paying us. So why wouldn't you do it for something that you are paying for? I'm waiting for all current claims to be complete. They are all at preparing for decision. I'm hoping I reach 100 and then I'm done with them. Brian, at the end of the day, still do it, but just ask questions. Any questions that are still stuck in your mind about certain situations of could I have not filed this way or could you have not filed that way and stuff like that. Because the only thing you would be going to another attorney was like, look, I filed for sleep apnea and I was trying to tie it to weight gain. If the first thing they tell you is like, bro, you can't tie it to weight gain in there, then you already know that the people you were dealing with were just trying to get you for money. Do your claims, do it that way, but just to prepare, making sure you double check everything, just start asking those questions now, because then at the end of the day, then at least you know if you come out 100% PNT, you ain't got to worry about it. But if you don't, now you know. It was like, all right, I appreciate what y'all did for me. Y'all got me that. Said I watched all the podcasts. Appreciate that, Jimmy. I've the podcasts lately have been changing. I'll say that. I'll say that much. The past couple of episodes on the podcast, the other one is gonna come out. We did it live. I think it was Thursday or Friday. The next one comes out later on tonight. When I asked too many questions, the head attorney sent me a message and said, trust us, so look for a new attorney. Yeah, you should have looked for a new attorney. You should have looked for a new attorney. You're not going to tell me just trust me and not answer these questions if I'm paying you. That's why I said a lot of these entities ain't there to help you. They're there to get money. And if they can delay your claim or extend your claim the longer, the more you were at. Because, Brian, don't mean to pry, but what percentage were you at before you did all these filing with them? Were you at 0? Were you at like 70? Were you at the low percentages? Because that's a big difference also. Because the thing is that they already know. It's like, man, Brian came in here only with 10% disability. Man, if we get this dude to 100, it's a nice fat check we getting. Nice fat check they get. Exactly. You know what that is? An increase of 20% to 100%? Let's go to the rates. We're going to show what that means. You were at $346. Now, with dependents and not, we'll go without dependents. $38.31 if you get to 100. That's an increase of almost $3,500 a month. Now, if you've been doing that, $3,500 a month, multiply that by 2 years. I'm going to just calculate it real quick. 3,500 times, what's that? 24 months? That's $84,000. That's a shit. That's a lot of fucking money, man. That's a lot of money. And they're going to ask for it. See, look, you're going to end up paying these people $12,000. But you didn't know this information. You didn't know how to get through the CFR. You didn't know how to look through it. And then it's just like, shit. I could have saved myself $12,000. You didn't know any better, and that's not your fault. That's not your fault at all. But understanding that is just like, yo, that is $84,000. The thing is with you, it seems like they got a certain payment that they're gonna pay. With others, they make it that out of that $84,000, they would possibly receive 20%, or depending on what they do. Because look at it like this: if they were just asking for 10%, they would still be making $8,400. You know what that is to just get $8,400 off one shot? Off of one veteran. Mind you, there's 19 million of us. 19 million veterans in total. A lot are already 100% PNT. But imagine going through this and always having a thing, because that's why it's just like I hesitate to do that, and I like to tell people to go to VSOs, because the thing is these claims agencies and claim whatever and shit. Some of these other channels. Oh, my thing ended on TikTok. I hate that TikTok does that. Did it end? I hate that on TikTok it does that. That it's just like, since you don't click on the thing, it'll redo your thing. It's like, bro, why do I have to keep on notifying y'all that I'm still live when you can clearly hear me talking? Like, that's crazy to me. But that's it's Annette says, get yourself a VSO. You don't have to use one in your state. Use DAV, BFW. You can, yep. And that's what I tell people. That's what I always tell people. These agencies and these claim things are there to make money off of you. See, and then that's the thing. That's the other thing, Brian, that a lot of veterans don't realize. A lot of the times, these people file the way they do on purpose to make that money off of you. Because they made money from 20 to 50. Shit, we showed him that we can increase his thing. He gonna stay with us. All right, 50 to 80. 80 to 90. So if y'all mean to tell me y'all were able to get me this the whole way, you mean to tell me y'all weren't able to provide all this shit to get me from 20 to 90 in one shot? And that's the thing, and Annette is right. There's people all over the DAV, the BFW, the American Legion, the Wounded Warrior Project, the Gary Sinise Foundation, I think, has some also. And then the thing is you can go through the VA.gov. We're gonna show you how to do it. VA.gov. Let me see. Find an accredited rep or VSO. You click on that. You can search for it by city, state, and whatever. Because that's the thing that bothers me the most, when it's just like y'all taking advantage of these veterans. Because the thing is you telling them, look, I was able to get you to 90%, but it took me a process of doing it, because I filed for this, then I filed for this, then I filed for this. Why the fuck didn't you just file for everything all at once? I already had everything. You just wanted to draw this out because that means they make more money. So that's why I say not all attorneys are great and not all do it. But at the same time, what happens? You got veterans that go through this process, don't go and ask a VSO, don't do free consultations. They find somebody and there it goes. Is there a course to become a VSO? Yes. In order to become a VSO, you have to be accredited by the VA, basically, and it is a process where you have to fill out an application for it, and then you have to take an examination. The application to actually get there is like a 6-month process for them to process it and all that. Then once you become accredited, you can do it. See, look, Annette is giving you her VSO from Arizona that she knows and refers to. Because the thing is there's great information out there. Look, there are tons of veterans, like including myself, and there's other tons of people that actually are out there to make sure veterans are taken care of the right way. Not to take advantage of them, but to do it the right way. I do these workshops is to show people the right way how to get to 100%. Not everybody's going to make it. But at least you know, and you ain't going to some entity that's going to take money out of your pocket that you earned, and it's your earned benefit because you didn't know any better. There's free consultation. It's like, look, the same way you go shopping around for certain items. When you go to buy a car, you're going to shop around for that car. You're going to see, you know what? This place is selling it for this place. This place is selling it for that. See, look, I've been using American Legion. I only like one out of 5 of them, but finally like this one. Like I said, not all of them are great, but hey, it's like shopping for a fucking car. If you shopping for a car, you ain't just gonna go to that one dealership and be like, you know what, I just want that one. Cause then they know it's just like, well, he only want this one. He ain't going, oh, you ain't going nobody else? Oh, he don't know anything. Oh, if he don't know anything, that means, you know what? We gonna sell him this car. It's not going to be the best deal, but he didn't check anywhere else. So he could end up paying a couple thousand more in fees here than he went if he went 2 miles down to that other dealership that had the same car, same information, but you didn't know any better about the pricing. It's the same thing with VA. You need to talk to multiple VSOs. Ask questions. If they got a free consultation, grill it ass. Lord, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as if you're buying a car. It's the same thing. If you want to maximize your ability to get your disability rating to the best you can by knowing what you need to do, you need to shop around. Because look, you can find there's a ton of like, even on YouTube, there's tons of channels that be like, oh, we have our medical doctors that'll help you. It was like, bro, I don't want to say it. That's fucking fraud. They don't want to claim it. They're the ones that are always the ones like, oh, you should never do this. You should never do that. People are taking advantage of them. I was just like, bro, you get a cut from sending somebody to a doctor that is performing a nexus letter. That's a Gabriel. I understand that. I understand that. That's why I seen that. That's what he said. What's your favorite game? Just seen the PS5 controller. I play anything that gets my mind off of shit. That's about it. Best answer I got. But yeah, VSOs, they're all over the country. Are they all good? No. I'm not a VSO. I wouldn't say I'm great, but I do a decent job of at least informing veterans on what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. If you got VSOs around you, you got these claim agencies, you got these claim gurus, ask them. I was just like, look, the stuff that I do, how much do y'all think I should be charging people? How much do you think I should be charging people? I don't even know what I would charge people if I decided, you know what? I'm going to just make a consulting service and I'm going to just charge people to fucking give them this information. I'm doing this shit for free. You got these people that are preying on veterans that they know this veteran is hurting or maybe going through financial crisis or maybe going through issues that they haven't been able to connect it because they've been so far removed from the military or they didn't want to deal with it that it's like, you know what? I heard about this company because the thing is it's funny. You know how you always like looking for something or you start talking about something and then it just magically pops up on your fucking phone. That's the same thing with the VSO shit. It was just like, oh, I've been talking about veteran this, veteran that. All of a sudden you see a couple of veteran claims agents or agencies just pop up on your phone like, bro, I was just talking about this like 10 seconds ago. And then you see that and then it's just like, oh, this person does claims. Oh, this person does things. What do? Most people are just going to go click on that, give them a call, and then next thing you know, they sell you that, oh, just like, we'll get you to 100%. It might take a couple of years, but we'll get you to 100%, but you're going to pay us the amount in difference. Whereas, damn, I learned what the CFR tells me. The CFR tells me I got this issue, I got that issue. I can possibly get 10% for this. I can get 10% for that. Now, do I have it service connected? Do I have the documentation to show it's service connected? Yes, no. Already got service connection. File for an increase. Because I can tell you a lot of these places do the same trick. It's the same trick they do. All right. All right, Cruz. You say you have this issue that's service connected, right? So it's gotten worse, right? So you know what? We're gonna file for an increase for this. So then they file an increase for that. Then they go do another one. I was like, oh yeah, you also had this. We'll file an increase for that. You can file both these increases at the same time. There's nothing that says we have to separate and do two different claims. You can file for an increase for two different things at the same time. The the thing is Brian, when it comes to the direct appeal thing, it's not like it's do I think. Can you prove it? Can you prove you are 100% PTSD? It's not if I think they could do it. It's can you prove that you have an increase? Because the thing is you're filing for increases and you've been shown to go from 50, 70 to 100%. That could have been that you got misdiagnosed. When they gave you the 50, you should have been 70 from the get. You could have been misdiagnosed, or your symptoms continue to worsen. But you have to be able to show that. The court, the appeals don't care what you got to say. It's like, can you prove that you've gotten worse? Because it's like, yeah, you were at 50, but those are one of the PTSD that shit can go sideways quick. PTSD, even though you're getting seen by a therapist or something like that, you still have it. But it could get better because you might know how to use techniques and stuff that may lessen it at times. But then it could be that even with those techniques, you just getting worse. So there's no possibles. There's endless possibilities when it comes to how they're gonna view it. What's not up for debate is what you provide, documentation, diagnosis, medical information, all that stuff. That's what clarifies stuff. And that's where veterans need to go. It's not that these people want to be like, you know what, Cruz, yeah, I see he had PTSD before. Yeah, I'm not giving him an increase. It's not like that. It's not the exam. See, the examiner will ask you those questions to verify and try to get information that corresponds with the CFR. So with the same thing like we explained earlier with what was it, coconut? You fall into this criteria, the 100 through this. The difference between the one word changes everything here from 100 to 70. The total. Because look, occupational social impairment, occupational social impairment, occupational social impairment, occupational social impairment. From 10 to 100, all of them say occupational and social impairment. But then as you keep on going up, it changes what it says afterwards. Due to mild or transient symptoms, with occasional decrease in work efficiency, with reduced reliability and productivity due to such symptoms. And it tells you what those symptoms are. With deficiencies in most areas such as work, school, family relations, judgment, thinking, and due to such symptoms as suicidal ideation, rituals, and then it's total occupational and thing. Which one is your doctor assisting you in providing and proving? Because if you notice, all of these, you can say you have occupational and social impairment. All of these say that. But what's the additional stuff that you are providing within your diagnosis, your medical information, and your evidence? Is it that you have total? Or is it because you have suicidal ideations and obsessional rituals? Is it because you just have flattened affect, stereotype speech, panic attacks? Which one is it? So that's the main thing there. Is just like depending on what you're filing for and how it's written and what's in there, that changes your whole disability rating. Your disability rating changes on the aspect of this is what you have, this is what you're showing, this is what you've been diagnosed with, this is what your doctor or the VA doctor is corroborating with what you're saying. That's what it is. The VA, like, veterans put too much thought process into what the VA is going to do. It's not what the VA is going to do. It's what you are doing. You provide the information. You provide the documentation. You provide the evidence. The VA rater, the CNP examiner, the appeals court or the judge or whatever, they don't provide any of that. You do. Roberto, what's up, man? You provide all that stuff. It's them. It's them that interprets what you provide. Now, there are instances where they interpret it wrong, they read it wrong, they miss something, stuff like that. That does happen. That's where you go through the appeals process. But if you are handing these people documentation and you expecting to get 100% and nowhere does it actually give you reasoning or diagnosis or anything that shows you a total occupational and social impairment, you're not going to get 100%. If you don't fall into these things, because you got to remember, a lot of these are kind of vague. A lot of the different ratings are vague. They are not super strong. A lot of these things are vague, but within it, it gives you certain instances and certain examples that are basically like your checkpoints. You hit this check mark, the CNP examiner is going to be like, well, I did ask him this. And when he said he does have a flattened mood, he gets panic attacks, stuff like that. Hey, Roberto, as always, it's a pleasure to help y'all, and it's a pleasure. And I'm thankful for y'all tuning in and just giving me the opportunity to assist veterans. That's all I got. That's the best I can say. But those are the things there. These things there are what changes your disability rating. And that goes for everything within the schedule of ratings. Because look, epilepsy. Look at the different ones. Like, look at this for epilepsy. You got 10 through 100. And it goes through a confirmed diagnosis of epilepsy with a history of seizures. That's just with a history is 10. At least one major seizure in the last 2 years, or at least 2 minor seizures in the last 6 months, 20. One major seizure in the last 6 months, 2 in the last year, or averaging at least 5 to 8 minor seizures weekly, 40. Averaging one major every in the 4 months, or 9 through 10 seizures per week, 60. And it just keeps going. Averaging at least one major seizure per month, that's 100. But look at the difference here. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ratings off of one instance. But depending on what you're dealing with and depending on what your issues is, that's the rating you're going to get. So if you had a seizure or deal with seizures, but you get them once a year, you might fall under this. And you must be thinking, man, I'm dealing with seizures because of these people or whatever the case may be. And veterans get upset at the time because it's just like, man, I'm dealing with seizures. I should be at 100%. But the CFR says you get 100% if you get them once a month. The same thing, the big one, the main one also is migraines. With migraines, it's basically depending on how bad you get them, depending on how often you get them. If you get a prostrating, as they put it, because that's the terminology they have it there, but that's basically meaning that you have them so bad that you cannot function. You have to lay down. You got to turn off the lights. It can't be no sound. You got to be in a dark place, stuff like that. And you doing that monthly, multiple times a month, that's one rating. But if you deal with migraines and you get them every so couple of months, that's a whole different rating. You still dealing with migraines. You still dealing with migraines. It's just the different levels of it. Because like I said, there's levels to it. But veterans don't understand that. And the thing is a lot of veterans don't understand that when it comes to dealing with VSOs or claim agents. A lot of people don't understand that there's multiple levels to what you're claiming. The same way there's different claims or different percentages if it's your dominant hand or non-dominant hand. You got shoulder issues. If it's your left, you could get maybe 10% off of it. If it's your right and it's your dominant, that would be 20% because it's usually like a 10% increase when it's the dominant and non-dominant hand. But those are the things that people don't pay attention to. And it is the severity of the condition. The thing is sometimes, Brian, when people hear severity, they think pain. And that's where a lot of veterans get messed up too. It's severity, but when people think severity is just like, this is how painful it is to me, instead of what the CFR shows is that I have a CMP for mental health through video tomorrow. Kind of really nervous. Worldwide J. Today, before you have that CMP exam, grab a notebook. The issues you are dealing with, write them down. Write the shit down. Have a list of the way it affects you, the way it bothers you, the way this makes it worse. Me going through this or doing this aggravates it. What makes it better? This sometimes, but mostly it just write all that shit down. So when they ask you these questions, you are prepared to answer. These are your issues, because trust me, when you're going to go in there, if you're already nervous and you haven't even sat down in your chair in front of that computer, I can tell you this much, you're going to forget half of the shit you know you needed to fucking say. So sit down, get a paper, notebook, whatever. I don't care if you got to put it on the same computer you're going to be on for the video. Make a list of all those things that are bothering you, all those things that are affecting you, how they're affecting you. Is it that bad? What's the cause of it? How bad? And what is the worst you've been at? No problem, Worldwide. It's just like that's what you got to make sure. Write down everything you know is bothering you, so that when they ask you, it's just like you can tell them what the worst thing is that happens to you because of your mental health. Because most of the time, they always start, and I don't know if they do it on purpose or not. They just ask you, like, so how are you feeling today? And Worldwide is going to be like, you know what? I'm kind of nervous, but I don't feel that bad. Oh, well, Worldwide does not feel that bad. He said he does not feel that bad. All right, next question. And you just left it at that. And that's where you mess up. I don't feel that bad today. But usually is this. I'm more calm and collected because I didn't have to travel to go see you. I didn't have to go out of my way to get to you, and I could do this from the comfort of my home, which has allowed me to be a bit more comfortable and relaxed. But if not, if this would have been in person, I would have had to deal with people. I could have had to deal with rush hour. This. All those little instances and things are great examples of you painting the picture for that CMP examiner of what it is that's affecting you, what it is that's bothering you, what it is that aggravates you. Because it's a lot easier for me to do this here. But if I had to do this in front of, I'm good at speaking in front of people. I've never had that problem. But I'm no longer good at being around a whole bunch of people. I'm from New York City. I grew up around millions of fucking people. I can't do that shit no more. I don't even live in New York City anymore. Too many fucking people, too much shit going around, always on high alert. And I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm moving where I got space and ain't nobody looking at me. I don't have to worry about it. But those are things you can explain in your CMP examination. I used to be from New York City, where I was around millions of people going downtown, getting on the subway, and I have no issue. Now, if I get on the subway, I can't sit down. I got to stand by the door. I'm watching every single time that door opens, and I'm watching every single time that door closes. And I'm watching everybody that just look out of fucking place. And in New York City, everybody looks out of fucking place. Because you can be in a fucking train car and it can be 90 something fucking degrees out and some motherfucker's going to be in a fucking coat. And you're going to keep watching his ass for any sudden movements like, why is bro in a fucking coat? It's hot in here. I'm sweating off of this dude. Why does he have a coat on? Those little instances and those little things trigger. You got to write those down. Because when you come to asking these questions, they're going to ask you. Because the thing is, you got to remember the CMP examiner has your documentation. They're going to pull up your file. They're going to look at it. If they're doing their due diligence, they're going to look at what your file has to say. It was just like, oh, this was the event. This is what happened. So it happened here and stuff like that. So it's just like, well, I already have his documentation that's showing why he's here. Now, my question is, how does what I'm asking him and what he's portraying and saying falls under here? Because they're going to write the stuff down and examine you. And it's just like, hey, is it occupational and social impairment? Is it because he got flattened effect? Does he deal with a bunch of panic attacks? Does he get them regularly? Is it just, here and there? Or is this always getting panic attacks when you go outside, see something, stuff like that? Are you having problems forgetting things? Is it hard for you to keep your job? Is it hard for you to maintain and stay on schedule when it comes to your job? All those little things and all those different instances can change your disability rating because it shows the severity of it. It shows that, hey, you have PTSD. This is how severe it is. You are dealing with it okay today. Today, you are dealing with it okay. Today, you are dealing with it okay. But at its worst moment, this is what happens to me. Remember to make sure you explain that. Because the thing is depending on the person, because look, the guy I had, he was trying to maneuver it to make it seem like I didn't have PTSD. And I don't know if he was expecting me to snap or fucking lose my shit or whatever the case may be. And I was just like, bro, this is what fucking happened to me. I don't know what the fuck else you want me to tell you. These are the issues I deal with. This is the problem that it causes for me. This is how it is. And this is how it affects my daily life going forward. And do it like that. It was just like, remember, not everybody, same way with VSOs, these claim agents, not everybody is going to do a great job. The only person you can depend on and know that can do a great job, you. You are the one that can best explain yourself. You are the one that best knows your issues. You are the one that can tell them, you know what, this is the problem I'm dealing with. This is what that's what's going on, stuff like that. You're the only one that does that. Because your paperwork is going to say certain things. Your paperwork is going to have this information. It's going to say that. It's going to say this. It's going to say that. What are you saying about it? How are you contributing to additionally provide that picture of these issues you're dealing with? And that's the big thing that veterans fail to do. It's just like, you have all these issues, you have to explain it. Check what the CFR is, because the CFR is going to tell you what it is, so that way you don't go in there thinking, you know what, I deserve 100% or 70% rating off of this, and then you end up with a 20. And then on the thing, it's not going to tell you why you didn't get 70. It's going to tell you, oh, you got 20 because we found this information and this is what you got. You didn't meet the criteria to get that 50 or that 40 or 30 or whatever the case may be, or an increase. They're not going to tell you why you didn't make it to the top. They're going to tell you why you didn't make it to the next step. You need to know what that is. You need to know what the step is. You need to know what the information is, so that way you know and you are ahead of the game, and it's not a surprise to you when somebody tells you, hey, bro, you're only getting 10% for that. Shit, tinnitus. To have somebody flatlining in your ear all the damn time, you would think that'd be more than 10%, but what they going 10? That's it. 10%. I was like, bro, this shit is so it's like, and sometimes it's funny but looking at it, because it's like you think back about the shit when you go through the process, and it's just like, I didn't even say some of this shit. Like, some of the shit I got to 100% P&T, and then I failed to fucking process certain things when it came to my mental health evaluation, that it was shit that was in there. But I did such a good job to make sure to tune it out and not allow my mind to think about it that I forgot to mention it during the CMP examination. And I didn't realize it till maybe it was like 2 weeks after the CMP examination. So I ended up getting 100% P&T though, but it was just like, if I would have mentioned this shit would have just shot me up the fucking roof. I was just like, this was worse than the first part of it. This is the secondary one that happened, and it's just like I just blocked it out my mind. So that's why I say, write the stuff down, cause you're gonna forget half of the shit you thought you were gonna say, and then if you're nervous, you're gonna forget another half of that. So you going in there with a quarter amount of information, and you're gonna be, cause it's not a test. You got to remember, this is not a test. This is you explaining how it affects you, how you are daily. And that's with every one of everything in this CFR. It's the same thing. Some of them, self-explanatory. Some of them are self-explanatory. Most are not. Mental health ratings is not self-explanatory. That you have to provide information. Degenerative disc disease. That's as simple as looking at a MRI and an X-ray, but like, yeah, this man got no cartilage. That's self-explanatory. But at the same time, you may not have no cartilage, but you still hooping every day. It hurts after you hoop, but you can still hoop every day. Some cases, degenerative disc disease, can't hoop. Your back is just jacked the hell up. Gotta check TikTok, make sure this shit ain't trying to turn me off. You know what's crazy? The crazy part is just now, after all the stuff I've been talking, I just got a violation on TikTok for trying to help veterans. Now, I I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that. That somebody actually reported me on TikTok for what I've been talking. That some of my themes are, it may be restricted because some of the themes I'm talking about is not. I was just like, what theme? Making sure that veterans are taken care of? Like, that's interesting to me, but whatever. Um, but yeah, that's if the VA court denies the appeal, what options do you have after that representing the PTSD question earlier? You can still continue to appeal. It's just there. I believe you can continue to appeal that. You can still appeal that and fight that. But there, Brian, I'm not too sure of that process. There, if the courts deny you, not sure. But then that's when you would have to go here. And you can check. I'll give you the link to this. Did it? That is for the United States Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. So I'm not too in depth on that, but definitely within this website, they would probably give you the information. It's either within the helpful links, and that stuff there. Good evening, Kevin. And it has that there, and it probably orders and opinions, stuff like that. And you'll be able to use that site, go there, and then probably you'll be able to find a better answer. Because there, I am not sure. It's just like once you went to the highest amount of the top way of appealing, and you don't have an answer. That's a good question that I don't have an answer to. Kevin, thank you for the let them cook. But yeah, court fees. It tells you how to appeal, and it gives you a breakdown. It requires steps for filing an appeal. Financial hardship or whatever the case. Here's the court fees, court forms, court process, finding a representative, stuff like that. It's broken down there, and that would be the best thing because I'm not sure. And then you got case archives also that show that. Oh, let me see something. This shows a list of all these things, but it's depending on what it is. Class action cases, and it'll tell you. Um, I guess when you file a class action case, does it go to? It goes against the secretary, I guess, and then it just has the stuff there, and it'll tell you what it is. You can view the full docket, find which one it is. You find the documentation, it'll give you a brief of just like United States Court against the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, and it tells you what the reason is. Spokesman has replied to the Secretary of Appellants for attorney fees and expenses under the Equal Access to Justice Act. And that's basically people just breaking down the different things there. But these are all different dockets, questions, summary, cases, because certain cases are there, like Veterans Legal Advocacy Group. You can look into it and see what it says. And a bunch of the times there's stuff that is within the courts right now that is being processed that is to benefit veterans or might change the outcome for some things. Because I know I was watching, there's another YouTube channel that it is veteran lawyers that they usually do videos and stuff like that. And they were talking about a specific case that was going through and trying to, I guess, get better wording when it came to the TDIU. So they were trying to find better wording or a better description as to why or what's the definition. Because remember when it says with TDIU that it's just like you can only work to the poverty level, which is the 15,000 whatever, unless or except if you are in a like family owned business or like a specialized case where your job is protected. That I forget what the case was, but it's them trying to identify. It was just like, what does a protected employment mean? Is it because you have your own business or you operate your own business? Or is it like I work for a company, but they give me specialized treatment because of the fact that they know I deal with this. So let's say in the case of migraines or the case of any whatever the injury is that got you the TDIU, what clarifies that says I only can make the 15,000 or that I can possibly make more of that because I'm in a protected environment. Things like that are put out there in cases like that. But that's why it's just like, it's making sure to do your research through all different programs, all different entities, all different VSOs. I was just like, claim agencies work differently. VSOs work differently. Everyone operates differently. Some just want to get your money. Plain and simple. Some want to educate you. Some want to help you get those benefits and those things. Me, I want to make sure you get the rating you deserve, but then I also want you to know what your benefits are, what your entitlements are. I'm not making no money off of this. I'm not charging anybody this because this is free information. This is information that's there for people to use and obtain. And I'm not going to use that against you that you didn't know what you didn't know. But sometimes these entities take advantage of you because of that, because they know you don't know. If I know you don't know what the hell a CFR is, I know I'm going to get you for money. Because if I'm telling you we're going to file for this and we're going to file for an increase, if you don't know how the process is, I'm going to tell you you can file for this thing now. We're going to wait 6 months, get that back. Then we're going to file for something else. And we're going to keep on doing that same thing. So you still stuck with me because I can show you that I can increase your thing. But if you knew better, you would have known. You could have just filed all that shit together. Now, instead of dragging the process out, we just getting it done faster. You getting to 100%, 90%, wherever you get to faster because you're doing it in that manner and you're learning to do it in that manner. Not, I'm going to get some couple of thousand. Because remember the example we did earlier, $84,000 if it was back pay for 2 years, going from 20% to 100%. And that's where Brian, that's where you had the issue where you didn't have that diagnosis. So that was possibly because you didn't know any better. You didn't know that was the case. You didn't know that was a process that you had to put in there. So that might have been a denial because of the fact that you didn't know the information you thought you should have known. That right there is a big difference. Because it wasn't a denied because they denied it. It was because you didn't have a diagnosis, so you didn't have the link or documentation saying that you had this issue. So that causes an issue. And I'm hoping that didn't go through the damn thing. Will, I appreciate that, man. I was like, those are the things there that is just like, see, but Brian, and then there's a lot of people that have been like, you know what, they filed, they went through that, and then you know what? They just give up. They'd be like, you know what, they denied this shit, I'm done. Leaving it alone, not gonna file again. I got an L, I'm gonna take my L and I'm gonna keep it moving. That's the other issue we have with a lot of veterans. A lot of veterans don't understand supplemental claim, higher level review, or appeals court. You can appeal the shit. And if it's something that you might have forgotten the diagnosis, you could do a higher level, you can do the supplemental claim and then get the diagnosis, get the documentation, and throw that thing right back in there. They go through it and then they realize, okay, he did have this stuff, he just didn't have it the first time. Approved. But most veterans is just like they don't know why they didn't get what they didn't get. And they don't inquire as to why they didn't get it. They just leave it as, you know what? I got this wrong. See, look, I had the VA diagnose me in 2017. Then PTSD was connected in 2023. It's not an easy process. The longer you've been out of service, the harder it is to provide these things. So sometimes it is I wouldn't say a hurry up and wait, but it is a wait process because it's like you dealing with these things that you have, but it takes time to get those in motion. Because you could have been diagnosed with it, look, 2017, and it didn't get connected till 6 years later. Was that because you didn't file to get it connected? Or was it because they on their own decided to do it? So those are two different things. It is a process and it takes time. And that's something that I know bothers a lot of veterans because a lot of like, look, some veterans just stop comparing yourself to another veteran. Your process and their process was not the same. Your time in service, their time in service was not the same. Your achievements, their achievements, not the same. Their failures, your failures, not the same. Nothing is the same when it comes to dealing with the VA because you are your own self. You are your own entity. You have to just remember that for some, it's a quick process. Oh, the OSA was diagnosed in 2017 by the VA. Okay. It was like some things they diagnose, but like I said, they can diagnose you with the shit, but I bet you they ain't filed for you. that's the other thing. These people will diagnose you with everything, but they ain't gonna file shit. They ain't gonna file shit. They gonna wait for you to figure it out. Like, hey, I got diagnosed with this. Oh shit, I could file for this. If you don't put those dots together, they not gonna do it for you. Because it's probably like part of their job process to say, look, we're going to diagnose you. If you diagnose a veteran with something, you can't tell them to file for it. That's probably part of their job thing or something. It's just like, we can diagnose people, but you cannot tell them they should file for a claim. They have to file for a claim on their own. And that's what the VA does a lot. Nothing that the VA, look, because if that was the case, a lot more people wouldn't have to worry about filing if the VA just did it on its own. Because you get my medical records. You get every veteran's medical records. You could have diagnosed and seen what was wrong with people from day one. But the VA ain't going to go out their way to do that shit. They never have. But like I said, sometimes you get lucky with a CMP examiner and they okay, you got all this. And they put you under that. That's not always how it's going to happen. You get diagnosed with something. If you ain't filing for it, You got diagnosed with it. You might need a CMP. You might need a CPAP machine. They gave you a CPAP machine, but you ain't filed for the shit. That's 50% you lost out on, even though they're the ones showing that. But the diagnosis and also being service connected are two essentially different things. So that's why it's just like paying attention to that. This is the biggest thing here is just the CFR. So those are the things that basically is just like with this workshop today, it was going over the CFR and asking those questions and talking about those things. My previous denial in 2024 listed favorable saying I was diagnosed by the new. And that's what it is. Because there's always, look, I've always had an issue. I'll say this. I had a major issue when I saw my ratings letter and it just said it had favorable evidence. And I was like confused. I was like, hold on. How you got favorable evidence, but you didn't service connect my shit? Like, what kind of contradictory statement did you just submit to me in paper trying to tell me you found evidence, but you didn't find the service connected? That shit always baffles me. But very good stop listening to other vets. Their experience isn't going to be yours at all. Not to mention most vets don't even know about their claims. And that's why I tell people, and that's why I do these, is to educate people on this. Because the thing is one veteran tells another veteran this. That's why I'm not a fan. That's why if you notice my YouTube channel, I don't make videos of like, hey, if you file this, this will get you to this, and that. I don't do those kind of videos. You see all these other YouTube channels do that because they just want you to tune in because they think you can get a better rating because of doing that. You are not everybody. That same template does not work for everybody. It was like they push it out there and then a veteran goes and files for it. And then it's just like, now they're going through a big ass ordeal to get to that same thing and find it. Oh, I know, Will. Well, I understand that. Don't put you found something favorable. that's what you see what I'm saying. Like I understand that's what they're trying to say, but it's like, come on, bruh. If you found evidence of this, something ties into it. But then also veterans don't understand that and don't read into it. We found favorable evidence, meaning you saw documentation in my stuff that leads to this. Now the veteran's job is to find what led to this and then get that connected. Because they found the evidence. They have what they needed to give you the rating. They just couldn't connect it to anything in the service. Which at that point is just like, then tell me you didn't find anything. Because if it couldn't be service connected, you found evidence of something you weren't going to service connect me for. How does that help me? This is like, but that's the thing with all these things that is just like, those are little instances and little things that most people don't pay attention to and don't look into. You got favorable evidence. That means you have something showing it. We need a bit more. Some veterans just leave it at that. And that's why it's just like, we got to educate veterans. Every situation is different. When each one of you asks me a question, I haven't been able to give anybody the same answer unless it's, hey, the CFR says this. Well, I wouldn't say that the VA is not working. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I do believe the VA is working for vets. The problem is that vets don't know how to work with the VA. And I think that's the bigger issue. But then it's also veterans thinking that the VA is going to get it right, even when the veteran has it wrong. That's the little misconception that we have an issue with. I was just like, vets believe the VA is going to get it right no matter what. Even when the veteran has no evidence, no nothing, they think that the VA is supposed to get it right for them. That's not how it works. Vets fail with claims because they don't do the proper stuff. They don't file correctly. They just go off of they go off of some of these videos that it's like, hey, file for tinnitus and then connect this and connect that. And then they don't have no evidence. They don't have a nexus letter. They don't have a buddy statement. They don't have a lay statement. They don't have a DBQ. Yo, no, trust me, it is way too complicated. And that's one thing that needs to be fixed is veterans being taught how to do this stuff. But the VA is like, bro, that's your problem. That's the way I look at it. The VA is like, you know what? This is your issue. This shit ain't my problem. This is your issue. You need to know what you're doing. It's not my problem you don't know how to file. It's not my problem if I don't teach you. That's where the problem is. The VA ain't teaching people how to do it correctly. The transition assistants ain't doing it correctly. Even after you've gotten out of the military, after some time, there should be a resource for a veteran that has been out maybe 10, 10, 15 years or more. There should be a resource that's like, hey, we are providing a class for you to understand how to file this disability claim. But that shit don't happen. But the problem is veterans don't understand that, and that's where veterans start failing and we start blaming the VA. The VA is not to blame all the time. See, Brian's pissed off now. Hey, man. We live and we learn, Brian. That's the one thing with this. We learn. And from your learning and your experience, this is where you take that and make sure that a veteran that is going through that process understands that. And you just give them that tidbit information. It was like, yeah, it sucks we had to go through it. It sucks. But we only as strong as our weakest link. And if our weakest link don't know that information and they going through the same thing, it's just going to perpetuate it and keep it going. It's going to add another claim. It's going to add about more time. It's going to add an appeal. It's going to add a court appeal. It's going to add to that backlog because we didn't do the right thing to help each other in the first part. So you got to share info and you also have to treat it as a second full-time now. The claim process is a real man. He's got to know the rules to play the game. Appreciate that. It was just like, and that's what it is. It's just like us as veterans need to do a better job of educating ourselves and educating others. It was just like, it was like, hey man, you should file for PTSD. It's, hey man, filing for PTSD, you need a nexus letter. You need a diagnosis. You need documentation showing that you got PTSD. You have to have the event that it happened on. You have to have proof of it. Some of the proof is in your service record, but some of the proof is also a buddy statement and stuff like that. Look at how those two conversations changed everything. Look at how that first part was file for PTSD. Okay, I'll file for PTSD. And look at how the second part of the conversation was, hey, you're going to need this. You're going to need that. You should provide this. You could provide that. Those are two different instances. Now, the second conversation is going to file for that disability claim, and they're going to probably get a better rating or a better explanation because they have everything. That first conversation is going to go bad. Why? Because that veteran is going to think that they're going to get diagnosed with, they're going to get a PTSD claim and they don't have anything to show for it. And then it becomes the VA sucks. The VA don't care about me. Two different instances, but one being prepared, the other one not being prepared. And then the same thing is that one that wasn't prepared is going to put the blame on something else. Randolph, appreciate you as always. Says 15,000 to get it done in 6 to 12 months versus losing 48,000 for 1 year of not having your benefits. It's a big difference. That little instance, that little small part changes your whole disability claim, changes your whole compensation level. It changes all that just as simply as I'm filing or I'm filing the correct way. Those two different instances change everything when it comes to disability claims. knowing what you're supposed to do and being prepared, and not knowing and still going through forward with it. The same instance, like I said, talking to those entities and stuff like that. You being prepared and knowing what you got to say, you can go to one of these agencies and be like, I think I just muted myself somehow. I don't know how the hell I did that. I muted myself. I don't know how I managed to mute myself. Appreciate y'all telling me because I would have kept on talking too. But the question was like, so supplemental claim is for a supplemental claim request, that would be VA form 20-0995. And then a regular, just to file a form, is a disability compensation claim is 21-526EZ. And it's just filling those out. Most of those are online. If you go to our website, we have those already there. The vet awareness, it's Veteran Awareness Project. There is the name because that's the project, but the website is Vet Awareness Project. You can go there. So if you click on the main thing, you'll get here. Here's the link to it in case anybody wants to check it out. Like I said, you can check it out if you find anything of interest or anything to add. One thing I know I'm going to work towards adding is the special monthly compensation stuff on there so that people have that there. But having this, you can check that out, and then you go to resources, you go to VA forms. Okay, I was about to say I need to go fix this. You go down, and I have a list of all the VA forms that I've done so far. As more VA forms come to my awareness that I see people need them and stuff like that, I'll keep on adding them to the page. But middle one, application for disability compensation and related compensation benefits, VA form 21-526EZ. Then you keep scrolling like, hey, if you need to write a lay statement or witness statement, VA form 21-10210. That's there. Need to file off a dependence application for VA educational benefits. That's the DEA program right there. Special home adaptation grant. If you're filing for it, that's there. This is the decision review request supplemental claim. VA form 20-0995. Where's the other ones? Statement in support of claim. If you need to write your own statement, which is very beneficial to you assisting and being able to write and paint the picture for that VA rater and that CEP examiner of what it is. Yes. If you have that, I believe you can do that, Brian, and just file for it that way, but then make sure all your ducks are in a row when you're doing this. So if it gets denied for the weight gain, because like I said, there's no claim for that. So that's why when the attorney said to put it connected to weight loss, it was just like a weight gain. There's nothing that's weight gain. There's no code for that. There's nothing in the CFR, and that's what they base it off of. Like Annette showed that there was a different thing, but when it came to the doctor's putting it as compared to what the CFR goes, because they're going off of the CFR. That's where the percentages are and that's where the ratings are. Whatever other document people are looking at, that shit is not going to give you any information. That's not going to give you a rating information. So that's why I found it weird when you said that they went connecting it to one thing that isn't even a diagnosis. You can't even connect that. You're connecting it to something that you know it's there, but it's not in the CFR. So it's kind of hard. Like I said, and we spoke about this, and Annette was here also with the back spasms. There's no real claim for back spasms. It's you have back spasms, which help contribute and show that you have this issue, but there's an underlying issue that goes with it. The same way with the sleep apnea, there's an underlying issue. It's not the weight gain. Something else is causing you to gain that weight, which has caused then the sleep apnea. So what is causing the weight gain? That's something you could possibly file for, like that, and do it in that manner. Let's see, statement of support of claim. And if you need a higher level review, VA form 20-0996. And this is the board appeal. Notice of disagreement is VA form 10182. So basically all these things are provided here on the website. All this is free of charge. So all you got to do is go click on it. You need the lay witness statement. You hit download. It'll pop up. It's a Google Drive that I have just for the website alone. You click on that. You can share it. You can download it. You can print it. You fill it out, and you use that as part of the information you submit. And that's all there. And that's for you to reference and for you to use. Good Sunday afternoon, sir. I'm a VSO New Jersey, a brief 31 months. Thank you for providing perspective here that helps me to help our fellow brothers and sisters. Jason, I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you do as a VSO. It's just these are things that assist VSOs. And the thing is, like I said, VSOs are learning also because there's too much fucking information. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of benefits, a lot of resources and stuff like that. That is just like, there's no way to be an expert in all this. And that's why I say is like, when I do this, it's just like, I refer people to VSOs. Why? Because VSOs do it for free. Now, like I said, some are great, some are not. But you don't have to pay for the service because it's already free information. But if you are learning how to assist veterans, that means at least I know I'm assisting with you assisting. I'm okay with that. And I'm glad for that. And that's what we need. But it's just certain instances, certain information is different. And everybody's situation is different. Everybody's filing is different. Keep that in mind. Don't go off of what the other veteran you know had. This could have been your battle buddy the whole time you were in service. The issues he's going through are not going to be said and spoken in the same way you're dealing with it. Y'all could have been airborne and y'all both jumped out the same plane. Y'all both landed, or both it was a crash or whatever. Y'all went through the same thing. He could have gotten a TBI from it. You could have gotten a dislocated back. Two different issues. Still the same event. Still a traumatic event. But you're not going to be saying it the same way. Your documentation isn't going to be the same. Your evidence isn't going to be the same. Those are things that you have to make sure to include and notate. Because those are the things that people don't realize. Those are the things people need to make sure they're talking about. They need to understand, because these are the things that is just like, you know what? This is important. This is how I got to produce this. This is how I got to say this. If you ain't doing that, you're going to have a hard time. It was just like, it's a process. You are not going to have this done day one. It is not going to be you're not going to be an overnight success. Some people think they are. If you got all your ducks in a row, you might be an overnight success, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's still going to be a hurry up and wait. Hurry up, get your stuff. And there you go, TikTok. TikTok be annoying, bro. It's like, it's a hurry up and wait, and it happens, and sometimes it doesn't, and then it does work for you, and sometimes it doesn't work for you. So it's just like understanding that, and those are two different things, two different instances. It's just making sure you are getting that correct and making sure you're putting all the information you need in the right way. If you can't, I keep telling people, if you cannot If you cannot give your file to somebody that doesn't know who you are and they can't tell you what's wrong with you, then you need to fix your shit. Plain and simple. You do better. Provide that better documentation. Get that Nexus letter. Go to the Vet Awareness Project website and just look at the different ones. See, look, VBA decisions take 165 days to adjudicate. That's on a good note. On a good note, it's 165 days. Shit happens, you find more information or something goes wrong, that can be extended, can be shortened. They are telling you it's 165 days. Like I said, there's a bunch of veterans that have notified me that they've gotten a letter saying that it's going to take a while. Holly, thank you, and thank you for being a rehab specialist. I'm gonna have to ask you a couple of questions at some point. But yeah, it's a resource and it's stuff like that. And it's just like having these lives, it allows me to do it because everybody posts videos and stuff like that. I don't see a lot of these other channels doing these lives. And most of the time, if they do these lives, it's like a members only kind of live thing. You're a veteran, all you got to do is tune in. Ask questions. We're going to get you an answer. The best thing about this is that as my channel keeps growing, there's going to be more people that tune in that have resources also, have answers. So it's building a community of veterans to allow the Veteran Awareness Project to bring awareness, but then also bring awareness to other entities that are actually doing things the right way and are actually helping veterans in a free manner where it's not like, hey, I am charging you to get free information. All this information is there. Is it a lot of information? Too fucking much. Can you become an expert at it? I don't fucking think so. I don't think anybody can become an expert at the VA. You can specialize in certain instances, but there is way too much shit going on within the VA when it comes to programs, resources, shit. Like most people don't know about the whole health program to just better yourself through whole health where it's not medications. Like there's so many resources that I found just looking up and assisting people that it's just like, bro, I need to make a website. That's why I made the website. But these are things that are just like certain things that is just easy for veterans to understand. And it's stuff that you can find easily and more available. VA.gov, great site, has a lot of information, but it takes too long to find certain fucking things. There's no actual directory for VA forms, which till this day, I still don't understand why that doesn't exist. Through VA form, there should be one place like how they have the DOD forms. You should be able to click on the shit and it should show you a list of everything by name of what the forms are. That shit doesn't exist. So I decided with the website, might as well help people and try to do that easier. My hypertension has been at the court since 2021. A video conference in November 2024. Had to wait 90 days because I submitted more evidence to. And that's why I say it is like those little things, you adding that, it's like, and that's what annoys me the most about some of those processes. It was just like, I'm already going through the process. I added something else. Y'all basically took me all the way back to the beginning of the process. And I just added a piece of thing to just help with it. It shouldn't fucking bring your whole case all the way back. That thing always baffles me. It's just like the processes that go through the VA sometimes it's just like they need to be more refined. They need to be more effective. Should be no reason why people are waiting 165 fucking days. No fucking reason. But I do understand when veterans don't file correctly, don't have what they need, and then they file for it again, and then all of a sudden they don't add any documentation and stuff like that, it does get difficult. It does extend the time period to fix something that the veteran themselves didn't fix. So it's keeping those things in mind, y'all, but it's making sure that we are educating veterans. It is making sure that we are teaching veterans, bringing them awareness and helping them understand what the process is, how to do the process correctly, and what else needs to be included to make sure you have a successful disability claim. Um, I don't think I have much else towards that. We will continue to survey and watch ongoing issues and the stuff going. Um, I haven't made any benefit videos and stuff like that because right now the whole government is in whatever way you want to put it. So with veteran benefits, it's waiting on a definite like, hey, we are done cutting this, and that, so that way we actually know what's going forward. 906 hours mostly for fully developed claims. Yeah, and that's the thing. 165 days for a fully developed claim, meaning you have everything, and it's still taking 165 days. That's almost 6 months waiting for something that you have everything already available for. That's crazy. But all right, y'all. We are going to conclude this workshop. On that note, I think we had a pretty good conversation going over all these things. If you want more information, I always have all the workshops that are done through the channel are always free to the public. If I have any other like the little podcast episodes that'll be coming out later on today, it's more of certain lives will happen, but those will only be reserved for members to see after again if they want to watch them again. To become a member is just $1. Like I said, I don't charge for this. I don't ask for donations, but if you would like to support the channel, the website, becoming a member at $1 a month, $12 a year, it's not going to hurt. Especially if you end up making a couple thousand more a month because of the assistance that you're gaining. So that's all I say. But like I said, that's not necessary. I do this because I want to assist veterans. I am a veteran. I want to make sure they're taken care of. I want to make sure that their families are taken care of, and that we actually work towards fixing the VA in a positive manner and actually educating people to assist in making the VA better and making veterans better so that we can actually get a positive vibe, positive mentality when it comes to dealing with the VA and veterans getting assistance that they need. Remember, there's benefits, there's entitlements, and there's exemptions. Disability compensation is one of the bigger factors, but all the other resources and benefits and stuff that'll benefit you health-wise, mental-wise, physically-wise, and even financially are available to you, and we just got to get this word out so that more veterans take advantage of it and more veterans use it. I appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, be good to one another, look out for one another, take care of one another, love one another, and stay marvelous while doing it, y'all. I'm Just Cruz. This has been a Veteran Awareness Project workshop. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. See y'all next week. Next Sunday, and throughout the week, we'll be doing a couple more lives, and those will probably be just Q&As, not specific workshops on certain topics. We'll figure out what the topic is for next week. Still don't know. But we'll put that out there. As always, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope y'all have a good rest of y'all week. Enjoy the rest. It's warming up. Get outside. Go for a walk. Even if it's with a walker, even if you got to ice yourself or give yourself a Epsom salt bath at the end of the day after you do it. Get yourself outside, get the heart pumping, good vibes, use the warmth, get some sunlight. And I appreciate y'all, and I will tune in, and hopefully y'all tune in next time. Check the Veteran Awareness Project website. Pass it along to any veterans that it may assist. I appreciate y'all. Peace.